shouldn't I be on board? This is an entirely lawful mission. This fleet is simply a collection of boats and civilians exercising their rights under international maritime law and international humanitarian law to peacefully traverse through international waters in flagged vessels carrying humanitarian aid towards a territory under famine. So there's no reason that it should be in any way controversial for a journalist to be on board. That's sort of the first thing I would say. But I would also say that the need for a journalist to be on board is very, very high because of the risk of illegal violence against unarmed civilians, a repeat pattern, unfortunately, that we have seen from the Israeli state, not just regarding the flotilla, but of course with what's happening in Gaza. And therefore the need to have journalists to pay witness, to verify these attacks is just as important as having war correspondents or local journalists who can make sure that visibility is sustained in areas where these abuses are likely to occur. And I think I'm just seeing on Morgana, I'm sorry, the person who was just very, very close to the camera is one of my former passengers on Family Boat, Miguel Duarte. He is a Portuguese sea rescue activist. And it was good, he was smiling. It was good to see him looking well.
That's something, and by the way, your experience on the boat is something that I'm going to come back to because it's really something I want to delve into, Matilda. But we also, we were just joined by our colleague, Ashfaq Karim, Emily, journalist, reporter, and the host of Unapologetic, which is one of his flagship podcasts. Welcome. Ashfaq, good to see you.
I've been following the coverage of this, as many people. I have been on Twitter and on other platforms this last few hours that you've been holding up the ship. Excuse the pun, Matilda. And the first thing that's come to my mind is that we're very fortunate that we can see live streams of these boats. Keeps them safe. Our reporting on it also keeps them safe. And of course, we have seen amazing resilience from the Palestinians in Gaza, Palestinian journalists and ordinary Palestinians who have filmed their own genocide. They don't have live streams of what's occurring. Israel has worked very hard to make it difficult for them to broadcast. A few weeks ago, Bilal Khalid, Ahmed Hashim obviously knows him very well. He's interviewed him on his show. He's a journalist in Gaza. He came to prominence well before Gaza, but he was in Gaza for the first 6 months, and he spoke about the difficulty that the journalists in Gaza have on transmitting what's happening, and that people have in transmitting what's happening. How an entire economy has really sprouted, to use that awful term, in Gaza in the last 24 months to support internet uploads. People use eSIMs. They obviously often cannot live stream anything. They need to go to difficult locations, ordinary citizens as well as journalists, to upload the footage that we see, footage that we've seen of kids being blown up, kids being emaciated, buildings being destroyed. And they do that through immense difficulty and immense courage. And in a way, it's what you've been speaking to, Matilda, through your coverage on the Flotilla over the last 3 weeks, and what you've been saying in this live cast for the last 4 or 5 hours. I don't know how long it's been now. But just that the privilege that we have as non-Palestinians, as people outside of Gaza, we have cameras, we have safety in those cameras, and the people in Gaza have tried, and we all thought that, and I'm sure they thought that through trying and through putting so much of the coverage that we've seen out there live on not on air, but live on social media. But it's been unfortunate, and it's just as I've been seeing this tonight, that's just a reflection that I've been thinking about. And so as I join, I just think that's something I want to kind of share with you and the people seeing this.
No, thank you for sharing that, Ashfaq, because I can also tell you, having been reporting on the flotilla, every time that there is an incident of harm against the flotilla, the the message they really want to drill is that whatever is happening to them, and I say this as we're witnessing quite violent water attack on the Maria Cristina boat, everything that is happening to the flotilla is minimal, fractional compared to what is happening to Palestinians in Gaza. And the whole point of the flotilla is to increase visibility on Gaza, not to distract from it.
Matilda, I mean, Hashim was asking you a lot about sort of your journey and your safety and just your own personal ideas and why you yourself chose to go on the flotilla. Could you tell us, I mean, before you went for much longer than expected, because I know that I had a briefing with you just before you left, and it was you anticipated the journey from Tunis to what's happening tonight to be, I mean, I think 7 to 10 nights. I'm discussing how to cover that. And obviously, it was a much longer journey. So what happened with that? Why did it take so long?
That's a great question. Yeah, the expected journey time that I signed up for was 10 to 14 days, including a 2-day training in Tunis. I was still in Tunis after 10 days in that training, and we had been waiting for the boats to arrive from Barcelona, and then there'd been delays in Tunis. So the first thing that I would say is that logistically, a flotilla of this kind is sort of unimaginable. There are over 40 boats, 43 now. At one point there were 52, who come together from 4 different ports, but have been pulled together by a coalition of 47 nationalities. This is not a government operation. Crucially, this is being done in the absence of government inaction in Gaza. It is a grassroots action, and many of the boats have experienced chronic mechanical difficulties on the way, so there have been far more technical stops than expected. And now every time there is a technical stop, that means often pulling into
sorry to interrupt you. I'm just looking at our screen, and we've seen some work. So you've seen it as well. We've seen water cannons, and we're seeing the people on the parlor have their hands up, and you can see a lot of water cannons happening on Cristina and Maria. Can you walk us through? I know you were speaking to Hashim about the training, but can you tell us right now what they're doing in regards to their training and why they're doing what they're doing, and given what you learned from sort of the safety training as well, what's happening right now? Actually, you can see. I think that's another boat. That's
really the first. That's the first. If you look at Paula, that's the first visuals, really good visuals we've had of the Navy ships, of Israel's Navy ships. I mean, I can't
really
confirm that is one of the Navy ships, but yeah. So they're all raising their hands up, and yeah, they are being approached, or these boats have been approached by military vessels carrying soldiers who are heavily armed. The flotilla, by contrast, is highly unarmed. It is made up of civilians, and so this training and this signaling with their body language is carefully designed for everyone to present themselves as unthreatening as possible to the Israeli. Yeah.
Sorry, Matilda. I believe we are being joined with a guest right now, Alina Trapattoni, who's a journalist with a demonstration in Milan. Alina, can you hear us?
I can, yes, I can. And I'm in the middle of the spontaneous demonstration that has come together in Milan, but also similar to ones that have taken place in 100 square around Italy after news of the flotilla attacks happened.
So this strike,
Alina, talk to us. Oh, go ahead.
This strike, this strike action that we're seeing in Italy, that you're part of that you're in the middle of, this is a direct response to what we're seeing on our screens right now in terms of what is happening to the flotilla.
It is. It absolutely is. As soon as the first news emerged of the flotilla having been stopped once they entered the territorial waters of Israel, people just took to the streets, and it's absolutely packed. People are chanting. They're calling for action to be taken. Italians have been very vociferous and very clear about the protests and their sentiment towards their government in calling for concrete action to be taken. But they had warned, it was pretty much well known that had the flotilla if the flotilla underwent any form of attack, or if it was stopped, the main unions here were going to call 2-day general strike, and that's taking place. It's place tomorrow and on Friday, and literally it will grind all major business activities to a halt. But also people have taken to the street, and it's midnight here, and in Milan, the center of Milan, is absolutely packed. It is a peaceful protest, yet people are chanting, and lots and lots and lots of Palestinian flags and placards and sign posts and the like. But there is absolutely no violence. But the message is very, very, very clear here. Everyone is saying the violence has to stop. One person I was speaking to earlier said, our government has to take a very strong position against, what he said is genocide. And in effect, Italy is one of the few major European countries that has yet to recognize Palestine as a state.
Alina,
yes?
Alina, I want to ask you, what is the reaction right now to the actions of the Italian government? I mean, we've seen the other day the Italian Prime Minister come out, Giorgia Meloni, come out and basically say that the Flotilla needs to stop their mission immediately. Now we see you. Hi, Alina. What is the reaction that you're either through speaking to protesters, or either through the sentiment that you're gathering about the current actions and statements by the Italian government?
There's actually an informal poll that's circulating, and it basically states that 8 out of 10 Italians, 80% of Italians, really want the government to take a firm stand to recognize the Palestinian state. It's not an official poll in that it's not a government poll. It's not one carried out by one of the formal, institutional polling companies. But it is being taken very